What is up, everyone? This is Alex. Call me Burjay or Burry. This is the 11th episode of the Burry podcast. In this 11th episode, I will be doing another discussion of reading subreddit statuses. The subreddit that I am focusing on is family. Yep, family problems. I chose four stories to read from the subreddit. You will hear about it when I read them. Of course, I am going to read the story and respond to them by giving my insight in it. Just read one story to another. I'm looking forward to it. I want to add a disclaimer. I'm not a family counselor or a divorce lawyer. Plus, I'm not a psychologist. I'm here to give people, actually, I'm not here to give people legal advice. I'm not an expert when it comes to problems. I want to make this part very clear to you guys. I also want to make it clear that there will be some details missing in the following stories that I am reading. I don't want you guys to wonder, what is he talking about? I will be able to find details when the narrator answers the questions that people reply to. Of course, people reply to these stories on subreddits. I did a previous subreddit episode where people might hear details that they thought were random and had nothing to do with the episode because I did not mention that the narrators were revealing additional information through replies. That is what I want to bring up. I don't want the things that I say are considered to be random and irrelevant to the stories that I am expressing my insight on. I am going to read the first story. Here it is. So this happened years ago and I'm honestly a little scared to post it, but since I cut contact with that side of the family, I don't have much time to lose from sharing it anymore. So my family has always been pretty dysfunctional. There's my stepmom, who has always been generally controlling and manipulative. My dad, who had some anger issues and high blood pressure. He worked, actually, he has worked on both since I left and is doing much better now. My brother, who just keeps to himself to avoid everything, and my stepsister, me, my stepmother, my brother, and my sister were all in martial arts. They always ranked higher than me and were going to test for their black belts that weekend out of town. Before we left, my dad made sure I knew that this weekend would be about them, not me at all, in a very not so friendly way. That's fine. I knew it wasn't. It was no problem for me at all. I made sure I had a couple of books to get me through the 8-hour test and 4-hour journey, as well as earbuds. We get to our hotel and immediately they want to practice, which is great. I love practicing with them. And since there was an odd number without me, it has been made since I did quit. Actually, she didn't quit. My bad. Since I did. At one point, I asked a question about a beginner drill. I wasn't sure if I was getting it wrong or maybe my stepmother was, but I immediately got yelled at. Apparently apparently I'm sorry, apparently, I shouldn't ask questions concerning drills the day before their big test. Whatever, I didn't want to practice anymore if I didn't know if I was practicing right or not. I got yelled at for that too. During the test, my dad was constantly telling me to pay attention, and I did for a couple of hours at a time, but it's an 8-hour test. I can't be expected to pay attention to the whole thing during the test. My SIFU, I don't know what that stands for, told me that my next test, I was going to actually skip a belt. Super exciting, right? That night, after telling everyone about it, even though they already knew because Saifu told them first, I got yelled at for trying to steal everyone else's thunder. The next morning, it was time to leave. I was sharing a bed with my sister and had made the bed the night before, and IMO there was no point in remaking the bed because the cleaning lady would have to take the sheets off anyway to clean them, D instead but D insisted I did. I tried to explain why I thought making the bed was kind of ridiculous, never actually refusing to do it, not trying to have actually, I'm sorry. just trying to have any kind of conversation because I had been ignored all weekend unless I was being yelled at. I made the bed and went and sat in the back of the minivan with my earbuds in and waited to leave. I didn't say a peep the entire ride home, not like anyone wanted to hear what I had to say anyway. When we got home, my stepmother decided to tear into my stepmother decided to tear into me again for the disrespect and refusing to make the bed and just generally ruining her weekend. She said, "If you don't like it here, then move out." She had said that to me before many, many times knowing I couldn't. But this time was different. I had just turned 18 for the first time that weekend and I smiled. I said fine and went to my room and started to pack my stuff. Every 5 minutes, one of my parents came in my room to try to take something away. First, it was my car. Fine, I'll get a friend to pick me up. Then it was my phone. Whatever they didn't know, but I kept a notebook of phone numbers and stuff just because they took it so often. I walked out the door and couch surfed for months, but I never went back and I am glad I haven't because I love my life now and it would have never happened if I didn't leave. Here are my thoughts on this story. I'm happy to hear that your father is doing good. I find it unfortunate because your stepmother was abusive towards you. Your stepmother sounds like an entitled witch. I would suffocate if I was in the same household as her. I heard that it's tough for some people when one of their parents remarries. I can't imagine that because it looks very complicated. If your stepmother was my spouse, I will make sure that I will file for divorce. I can't deal with all of that toxicity. That is a hot mess. Imagine what she was like if she was with someone who was a rich man. All I have to say to you is I'm glad that you got out of that toxic situation. My family is not toxic. If I was in a place that was toxic, I would leave. It doesn't matter who it was. It does not have to it does not have to be family. It can be relationships and friendships that are toxic. I would not think twice about leaving people. I know that I should not disrespect anyone's family at all. I can't believe how negative and disrespectful your parents were towards you. I learned that no one's family is normal at all. People come in all forms and shapes, ethnic backgrounds. It should not matter where people come from. First and foremost, I'm glad that you got away from your stepmother. She sounds like the type of mother who would do anything sneaky and shady. I always get narcissistic vibes from your mother, your stepmother. I'm sure that you put up with this since your father remarried. Your stepmother reminds me of Miss Trunchbull. It will not take long for anyone to figure it out. It's not a surprise that it's part of her true character. If I had a mother that was super negative to me, then I would not be able to breathe. I'm not over exaggerating about it. The fact that the biological father does not defend you says a lot about him. I have to be critical of him because he's not doing anything to respect you. It sounds like he is appeasing your stepmother to make the relationship last. That's not what a real relationship is. You don't appease someone so they can love you. That's not how you love someone. I already know that. I always see that she doesn't put you first since she is married to your biological father. No disrespect. I don't know what it is like to have a step parent at all. I know some people who have step parents for real reasons. I notice how untrustworthy your parents are. To steal your phone and belongings are low enough. I hate it when people do that. Why would you steal my phone? Do you want to know who I have been texting? Well, nothing serious happened at all. You're not going to make me lose friends. I have a right to go somewhere. I have a right to speak to someone that I can go to. I don't always have to talk to you. Don't you know what she has that is important? She's not a kid anymore. She's 18 years old. I don't know if her birthday passed. Maybe it did. Sorry if the age is not accurate. That just lets me know that it means nothing if you have people in your life that do not care about you or they care what benefits them. That's what a narcissist does. I know what a narcissist does because I dealt with narcissists before. I will tell you that it's the worst thing to go through. I will not apologize for leaving people that were toxic to me. If they don't want to apologize, then maybe they should not allow that many people in their life that they meet. Chances are they will hurt somebody. Therefore, they will be the people that just come in. That's just how it is. Both of the parents hurt you enough. I can't forget that you you love your biological father from a distance. Everyone needs their own space. You need your own space. You were brave enough to leave people You were brave enough to leave people that treated you to be soulless. They treated you with disrespect. I don't see any remorse with what these parents did to you. Whether your biological father apologizes to you or not, it does not change what happened to you. I just feel that your father should have done better to give you a good, healthy life when he was married to your stepmother. I wish that your biological father defended you every time the stepmother was disrespectful to you. I think that he blew it up because he was not defending you at all. I don't know how I would feel if I was remarried to someone and my new spouse disrespected my children that I had with someone else. What your stepmother did was a level of disrespect. The way your mother treated you, I always see a level of distrust. I'm not going to come up with conclusions because you did not go in depth about why your stepmother has so much resentment. I also feel that something caused her to be deranged. Part of me feels that it has something to do with trust issues. I see that your stepmother plays the victim. I notice the vibe that your father is very submissive towards the stepmother. I can tell because it sounds that he stood by her throughout the times that your stepmother was disrespecting you. I'm not wishing divorce on anyone. This is no means to wish bad on other people's marriage. I don't feel that this marriage is going to last long. I'm sorry, baby. I can tell if someone's relationship is stable, if someone's relationship is toxic, but this marriage is one of the worst that I heard. Overall, your stepmother and biological father are in the wrong. You're not in the wrong at all. No disrespect. I would hate to be in the same position that you are in. If I were you, I would not apologize for leaving and not coming back. I don't think that you owe her anything since you left. She should have rewarded herself because she was the one that raised you. It's hard for someone to reward someone that is toxic. It is very clear that your stepmother did that to you. I know what it is to reward someone, but they will not reward you when you do something that is actually achievable, when it's good, when it's right. She does not need the mom of the year. Well, you have done everything you can to respect her. Your father does not need father of the year. You don't have to be the favorite daughter. She should have respected you, and she did not do that. Whether I am biological or a step parent, I do not need to be the step parent ever. I don't need to be the best biological parent. What do you think I want from you? A cookie? A cookie means nothing. Why do you think I need a cookie? You don't owe your step parent and your father a cookie. My thing is that something means more than a cookie. People can eat a cookie for 5 seconds. I can eat a cookie for less than 10 seconds. I want to talk about the siblings part. I also feel there was favoritism on your part and your siblings' part. In other words, I noticed the sibling rivals in the family. I noticed it because they treated your other siblings with respect, especially when they ranked higher in martial arts. They were depicted to be better than you when it comes to martial arts. That sucks. I feel that martial arts was a small part. It's deeper than the martial arts. I feel that the parents belittled you because they think your siblings are better than you. I noticed that they want you to be perfect. Again, that is a narcissistic trait. Why do you need me to be perfect? I'm not going to show to you. I'm never going to be perfect. If you expect me to be perfect, do you think that I'll learn something? Let me make my own mistakes. Don't try to use your own energy to suffocate me. Like, it's disrespectful that your parents would not yell at your other siblings for making a mistake. You can improve, and they have an issue with it. When you do it, it's an issue. These parents should have treated you like you belong to them, not exclude you compared to being from the streets. Your stepmother cannot treat you as an outsider. I'm not a parent or anything, let alone a step parent. It's not a good feeling when you don't get along with your family. It's because someone is the problem, not you. You can't control anyone's actions. You can control your own actions. I don't see you as the problem. I feel that there has to be a reason why your stepmother is treating you like crap. I feel that it's because she feels you don't meet her expectations. Again, your father is used to treating you with favoritism. That's what I noticed. It would be the worst thing if she said that you belong in the dirt. That is the type of vibe that I get from your stepmother. It's not considered family if there is competition. I personally do not like to be part of a favoritism type triangle system. No one should be considered a wheel when it comes to being part of a family. No one should be no one should be considered the first wheel, the second wheel, the third wheel, the fourth wheel, or the fifth wheel. None of that stuff should happen. I want to talk about you. Enough with family. I want to say congratulations with ranking higher in martial arts. That must be an accomplishment. I'm happy to hear that you never skipped a belt. You must be very committed to what you do. Good for you. That's what I want to say. I will say that karate has been the best thing that you have done. Whether it came from your parents or not, you did that. It's very cool. I need to get back into martial arts no matter what people say. What matters is how good you are at with martial arts. Who cares about what your parents say? If they want to say that you suck at martial arts, then forget their opinion. I want to value your skills. It seems that your stepmother does not value your skills. It looks very bad on her part. She's not being like very supportive. She's not giving you credit when credit is due. I don't think that you should waste your time impressing her. Impressing her is not going to do good in this relationship. If she is the type of person to talk down to you because you have grades but not all A's, then forget her. As long as your grades are good, then you should be fine. If she wants to knock you because you are in a belt level, then that is her problem. My thing is, why won't she be in martial arts and see how much a fast learner she is with martial arts? It looks like she is trying to discredit you. That is very insulting. You know how insulting it is. I have other questions about your dynamic with the family. I wish that I got to know more about your biological mother because you barely mentioned her at all. If you have any reasons for not talking about her, then I understand. I wish that I knew more about her. I also wish that I got to know more about your siblings. You barely mentioned them. I don't want to sound too nosy, but it is what it is. I wish that I knew more about your family history. The second story that I will be reading is called Father Might Be a Narcissist. Hate him, little help. This is what I wanted to read. Let me read this right now. I've come to the conclusion that my father isn't someone I like. As a matter of fact, I've grown to hate him so much, to the point where I've had dreams of fighting him. It's quite hard to pinpoint it, but he puts on different faces for everyone. But I know what he is, a narcissistic idiot whose daddy left him and now he spends the rest of his life drinking his sorrows away. Sorry for my almost cruel wording, but it's the truth. Living in his dream world. I know for a fact he thinks everything is perfect. When confronting him about him and my mother, he said he thought everything was perfect until I said something. Had I not said something, he would still be living in his fantasy. I've overheard him talk to one of his friends on New Year's. He said he didn't think the year was bad. He said he thought it was magnificent because everyone felt a little more grateful for what they had, not a bad mindset, just a little stupid calling 2020 a fantastic year. Just a little. He seems to put everyone down every chance he gets. He is the provider of the house. But this probably goes to his head as whenever my sister, my mother, or me brings up something, he always tries to either prove how it's wrong or how it's not as good as we think. He seems to think he is the smartest person in the room. For example, my sister said she was excited to paint her room, but my father kept bringing up the cons of painting her room. For every positive thing she brought up, my father had this passive aggressive way of telling her that it was not going that it was going to take work, basically stopping on her excitement. One reason this brings great pain to my mindset is because without him, realistically, me and my mother and my sister would not have half of the stuff we'd have. He has brought me many things, to which my mother always brings up if I say something bad about him. Fair. He has paid for a lot of the things that make me happy, my laptop, my phone, hell, my entire house. I don't want him in my family, but unfortunately, if that were to happen, we would lose everything, which is what might give him the sense of self and power. I feel like he fabricates his personality and ideas to make me think he cares, but he really only cares and thinks highly of himself, I believe. Or he could be a narcissist and not even know it, which I would which I would at the very least be happier with, but right now I don't like him. I kind of hate him. There've been times I wanted to get into a physical altercation with him, get rid of him. Of course, my mother won't wake up and realize he's a bad husband and a bad mother. I'm sorry, a bad father, all around a bad person. She has apparently loved him since she met him. She might also be mentally ill and manipulated by him. Here are my thoughts with the second story. I heard that there's such a thing as narcissistic personality disorder. I can't condone with the way your father treated you. No one wants a narcissist in the family. That is very understandable. It's not wrong to say it. I would not want to be married to a narcissist who thinks the world is perfect. If a spouse turned into a narcissist, I will file for divorce because the spouse chose to be this way. There are no second thoughts about it. I will not change my mind about it at all. I will not regret it because I will not look back at it at all. They can do anything behind your back. I realize that your father tends to ruin the good in every moment your family has. Your father diminishes it. That's not fun. It's a blessing that your father helped you financially. He bought you a laptop, paid the house bills, paid the phone bills, paid the electric bill, paid the heat or AC bill, the water bill, and other bills. He's always going to be a father in your life. Not everyone has a father in their life. He cannot generally exclude you and your family out of his life. No one is ever the first one to have an absent parent in their life. It gets old when people are being nice to give you things really quickly. It's one thing to give people money. You're paying things for people because they need things. I get that part and I'm not mad about it. I feel that the father is not supporting you past what he paid for when it comes to electronics, what you really needed. As far as I know, giving someone things is not good enough to have a good relationship. It gets old very fast. I feel that your father is acting nice to you so he can make you believe that he's being good. That's just how I look at it. It looks very manipulative to me. I think that your father wants you to believe what he wants to portray. I don't know what he's doing exactly to show that he cares and he loves you and the family. That sounds very off to me. Being nice is not going to get you anywhere in life. There's nothing wrong with being nice to people. It seems that his intentions are going to keep screwing people over that he meets. When it comes to being a father, you don't need to give him a cookie for being the best father. He doesn't need a cookie. You want a parent to respect you and you know how to reciprocate. No parent is perfect. I don't expect a parent to be perfect. You need a support system, not someone who only looks out for themselves, not someone who thinks paying for things will solve problems, not someone who thinks that being nice will get you somewhere. Your father is a grown adult. You expect a lot from him. I don't think that he realizes that. I guess that paying for things will release some financial burdens. I'm not mad about it. There's nothing wrong with it. He's not offering you moral and emotional support. I already know that he offered financial support. Your father is only looking out for himself. Your father is not being the support system that he needs to be. It seems that your father looks out for himself more than he looks out for you and the family. I think that there is a reason why your father is acting this way. This made me question about your father. Is it because he was raised a certain way with someone around him raising him a negative way, who was taking care of him? No one is born as a narcissist, I believe. He must have been influenced by something in order for him to be a narcissist. I learned that kids can be narcissists. I never I never thought about it at all. I always thought that only adults can be a narcissist. He is a product of his own environment as well as your own environment. He definitely needs help. I'm talking about professional help. I think that he can end up in legal trouble if he continues to act this way. He can also hurt himself if he does not get himself together, if reaching out to his side of the family, extended relatives, is not good enough. I suggest that you seek professional help because you will get the most answers from them. If he gets professional help, maybe someone can knock some sense into him. That is what these people are here for. They will they will be there for you since your father needs help. A professional can tell him, "You are hurting the people around you. You have your kids that you're taking care of. You have your partner who has your back. Your marriage is falling apart. You are hurting your own family." If your mother wants to seek marriage counseling, then she has the right to do that. The father has to respect her feelings. I think that he lost track of what is right and wrong, in my opinion, because he doesn't care about the things that he does, and it looks bad on his part. When you bring up how he thinks certain things are wrong, I see him being obsessed with perfection. He wants to be the expert at everything. Somehow he's wrong. I don't like people like that. It looks bad on his part to be a parent, which is very detrimental in his life. That's very detrimental on your family. I don't know what he is obsessed with that makes him a narcissistic person. I don't know what it has something to do with. No one lives in this fairy tale. A fairy tale is non-existent. This is real life. I think that he lost a sense of reality. I don't know if he realizes that his actions are affecting everyone. He could lose his career if he chooses to behave this way. If he is serious about changing his ways, then he needs to put in the work, and you should not have to be extra worried to see if he's doing good. It's good to check up on him. That's your father. Always check up on him as much as possible when he's taking change seriously. He may need you in the future because he needs the support, and maybe he does not think about it, but it's actually important. He's going to need you in the future when he is an elder man. If not, then something drastically could happen to him. I think that you need people to talk to, someone you can confide in. It has to be your maternal side of the family. What about your friends? What about your best friend? They can help you out. Do not be afraid to speak to someone. Speak to someone that you can trust. Just speak up. Find someone that you can actually trust, and that person will listen to you. You need someone who will look out for you. You can have your sidekick. I mean, that should help get through life. Connect with your neighbors. You should not deal with it alone because it's going to be hard to get through this when you face this by yourself. You can love him from a distance. You should not have to deal with this toxic behavior. Your mother should not have to deal with his toxic behavior. It's real to be hurt. We all have been hurt before. You have the right to feel that way because he has done so much damage to you by treating you badly. If you feel that cutting ties with your father is the right thing to do, then I can't get mad at you. He could be doing something extremely hurtful, and it's not good at all. If he is considered a danger and you're completely serious about not letting him in your life anymore, all I can say is run and never look back. You know what enough is enough. I would say go for help because you need outsiders that you can trust. I'm talking about your friends. I don't think that's safe to be around a narcissist who don't realize the red flags. A narcissist who does not realize how wrong they are. I will not feel safe at all. It's scary when they don't want to change for the better. As much as you shared great memories, memories will never be altered in your family. I learned that he can be a criminal without getting arrested. I don't know if that's possible. It's like your father is hiding a mask. It could have been a clown mask or a beastly looking mask or a nice face mask. You know that he can't hide these traits anymore. You can't put on a mask anymore. I already know what I already know that you saw right through him who he is. If he chooses to act this way for the rest of his life, then something could drastically change his life. The result will never be good for him. This will never end well for him, you and your family. It will be hard for him to come back or get over it. His behavior is affecting everyone to your extended relatives. It's also toxic because your mother has put up with him for a long time. I can respect that you are looking out for your mom. I think that's impossible to stay with a narcissist because everything has its own limits. It's either he does not care or he pretends that there are no limits at all. I also think that he lost sense on why he is a parental figure in your life. It seems that he lost sense on why he is a husband to your mother. At this point, it looks like he threw out what is actually important in his life. Your father is not giving you the respect that you deserve. That includes your family. I suggest that you help your mom get out of that relationship if there's nothing else you can do to fix the relationship. I'm not saying that your father is a complete criminal person. It will not hurt to get family counseling. If it does not work enough to get family counseling, then it wouldn't hurt to get your own space right now. You don't want to be locked in like a locked house in the Disney original movie called Smart House. I know what the movie is about, so you don't want to be in that position. If he is serious about change, then you never know if you'll see him do good when he gets the help he needs. Plus, it's the only way to help him. His actions could affect the people working around him, who would not be affected by his actions. I just wonder if the people around him are concerned about his behavior. If your father is not going to change, then he will hit rock bottom if he continues to act this way. That's all I have, and I hate to say it. That is what I can come up with. There is no such thing as overnight change. Overall, I can respect that you're not blaming yourself at all. Don't blame yourself because it can make things worse. Anyone can be a narcissist. I can tell that you reached your breaking point with your father. I think that your mother reached her breaking point. I don't know. I can't read her feelings. I can't criticize you at all. You completely realize that enough is enough. You don't want to stay in a situation where you're not happy and someone is not making you happy. If you continue to have someone in your life that make things harder, it will be harder if you continue to be around someone like that. That's not a lie. No disrespect to your father. He's being a toxic person because he's showing that he cares about himself. You put up enough BS, but everyone has reached their breaking point. It seems that the father does not recognize that. I can never see you as the problem. You're not in the wrong. Your family is not in the wrong. I'm afraid that something bad could happen to him if he continues to be selfish and self serving. He will barely have any social life. It will be hard for him to have friends in the future. He's not going to be able to work with anyone on a professional level. His behavior may be hard to work in the future. If my business partner was a narcissist, then I would cut ties with him or her. You will be less stressed when he is not in your presence. I know that you want to do the next extreme to go against him. I don't want you to do something that you will regret. I'm not gonna lie, I will not do anything that I would regret. That is fighting him or getting in a physical altercation with him. That's not that's not something that you want to do. I don't want you to live with regrets because you never know what could have happened. If you looked back and realized that you did not do the things that you regret, then you will realize the consequences behind it. I'm not saying that you should wish bad on him because that is going to get worse. I hope that it makes sense to you. Here is the third story. First off, I want to clarify I have my brother's best interest at heart. We share the same mom and had grown up together with my bio dad since he was 3. He means biological father. His biological father was abusive to our mom, so she had to hide out in another city. She ended up remarrying when my brother was 3 years old to my father. I came along 2 years later and everything was okay growing up. Our mom always tried talking to my brother about his biological father, but he never let her finish and would get up and walk away. He's never wanted to see any pictures of him and acts as he never existed, which I completely understand considering the circumstances. My brother's biological father ended up dying a few years back from cancer, and when he was told, he just said he felt a little sad and moved on with a different conversation. He doesn't want to meet any other family members of the side of that family. I'm just worried one day he will want to meet them one day and they'll be dead. They're all pretty sick and out of hospitals, etc. I wanted to reach out to some of his family members and secretly ask for pictures of their family in case one day he wants that information. My brother suffers from bipolar disorder, and I'm not sure if that can affect the decisions he makes in this regard. I would never force him or talk to him about any of this unless he wants to. I just don't know if I should take that step and keep something saved for him. My mom only has one wedding picture of his biological father. Am I being completely out of line? I just want the best for him. If the best thing is leaving the subject alone, then I'll do that. Please voice your honest opinions. I will be taking a break. Be right back. I'm back. Here are my thoughts with this entire situation. This is no means to go in on you. It's very clear that your brother is older than you. Both of you have different fathers. I understand that you recognize your half brother's feelings. You want to help him get through life. You look up to him because he's older than you. You need each other. You need your older half brother. He needs your he needs you for moral support. You need him for moral support. Your brother should be the one that is looking out for you and putting you in the right direction. It's like saying that he is a father figure. You know what I mean? You know that he needs a connection with his father's side of the family. You should always listen to him when he feels that he has no one to confide in, no one to confide when he's depressed. There might be a time where he might bawl his eyes out. That is very real. It's best to console him because it's necessary when he expresses his feelings. It's always good to let it out. He will always be your brother. You don't want to keep the emotions bottled up. I understand health is an issue. Cancer is a serious disease. So is a bipolar disorder. I hope that you are helping him cope through his chronic health conditions. It's important for you to be there for your brother. I'm very sure that you love him and he loves you. That is the part that will never change. I can tell. Your half brother will always be close to your father's side of the family. He will be always he will always be close to your father. That would be his stepfather. You're always going to have your mother in your life and your father. That's the father that your half brother will have in his life. It's one thing if you know one of his family members, but it would be a bad idea for you to reach out to his family members about his father. That's not it is not the smartest idea, especially if he has no knowledge about your intentions to communicate with them. You should not force your brother to talk about a personal matter that has something to do with him because it can cause him to avoid the conversation. Don't be pushy too. That is a sensitive matter. His father passed. One of his paternal family members has health conditions, including cancer. Those things are very serious. It's important for your half brother to know about his father. As much as you and your half brother will be family, you can't force him to talk about it if you don't know the answers to his family history that is coming from his paternal side of the family. You can't be too involved in his family business. That's not your family business at all because you're not related to his paternal side of the family. If I were you, I would watch what to do because I think it can escalate. I can agree that he has the right to know his paternal side of the family. In other words, it's his biological father's side of the family. It's disrespectful to do it behind his back. He has the right to let you meet his side of the family. That is his family. That's his choice. I can agree that he should know what is going on with his paternal side of the family. You don't want it to be a point where your half brother does not trust you because you decide to reach out to his paternal family members without his knowledge. That is very disrespectful. That's not fair. I would be livid if someone did that behind my back. I don't know if your father is actually aware about this. If his father knows about your half brother's paternal family situation, then it's best to respect your brother's feelings. It's never a good idea to ask him questions if he does not want to talk about it. If your biological father actually cares, then your half brother has the right to open up to him. Your half brother has the right to trust him with what is going on with his paternal family life. I don't know what could happen if your biological father said something about his paternal family. I'm talking about your brother's paternal family. I'm not saying that he will say anything that could hurt his feelings. You don't want your half brother to freak out and think you are against him. I would be uncomfortable to speak about it when it's his business. I think that there are reasons why your brother does not want to talk about his family, including meeting his side of the family. It sounds that he has some type of resentment issues against his father's side of the family. I don't know what the reasons are. I don't know what the reasons are to be against his paternal family. Maybe he has a healthy relationship with your mother. You share the same mother with your brother. I can't be too quick to define his character. Just assure your brother that you are here for him. Tell him, I'll be there if you need anything. You know, you want your mother to respect his feelings. You don't want to do this behind his back when you reach out to his paternal side of the family. I don't see the issue with his mother. I don't want to make conclusions on why he does not want to talk about his dad and his paternal side of the family. It's not my place to know about it. There has to be a reason why he wants no parts of it. I feel that he has a relationship with your mother. It sounds like he has a good relationship with your mother. I'm not saying that he has no right to be hurt. Something must have happened. Who knows? It is best to be physically there for him if he actually feels down. You never know what can happen. Your brother is always going to love you. You love your brother. That will never change at all. Your brother has the right to keep things to himself. He has the right to have his own space. He has the right to be very private about his life. He will always need the support, especially what he is suffering from. He has the right to open up to you about why he has some resentment against his paternal side of the family. I just hope that things will resolve for your older brother. I'm going to read the fourth and last story right now. I am a 21-year-old Indian student currently studying to get into a uni or university to do her master's degree in science. All my life, I have lived in an abusive environment. My father has always been a manipulative bully, and there have been multiple instances when he's beat me because of a small disagreement. For instance, he constantly beat me up for not serving him coffee at 6 p.m. sharp. If I was a minute late, the bad mouthing would begin, and it all used to go downhill hill from there, culminating with me having a bloody lip. When I turned 18 years old, I decided that my mother, sister, and I couldn't live with him anymore and moved out. We faced a lot of backlash from my relatives. They absolutely adore my father. During this time, we tried family counseling and we came to realize that he has a severe personality disorder. My father refuses to accept this and doesn't receive treatment. 2 years later, due to financial circumstances, we had to come we had to move back in and the pandemic happened. Staying locked up in the house with him was absolute hell. He beat me up several times, and when we told his siblings, they refused to acknowledge this and treated me like a child. We finally had to resort to forcibly take him to a psychiatric rehab center. We were in touch with a psychiatrist the whole time. 2 months in and 2 months in and his brother removed him from there and took my father to stay with him in another city. His family now talks behind my back and goes on to accuse me and my mother of getting him kidnapped. I've been hurt by him and his family for 21 years now. I have tried my best to love him like a daughter, but the trauma is too much. I am considering cutting ties with everyone from that side of the family, but I feel guilty because of his illness. I'd be real grateful for some advice. P.S. Forgive me if I made mistakes in grammar. English is not my primary language. Thanks. I want to cut ties with my father and his side of the family for being abusive. I really want some input to see if there's an alternative. Here are my thoughts on this story. This is actually a serious story. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to judge other people's culture at all. It's really not about that. I don't want to sound pessimistic at all. I was very scared for you. I was very worried about your family. I was worried about your well being. I can't believe how atrocious your father was towards you. By the way, I can understand you since your first language is not English. You're not the problem at all. You are never in the wrong. It's very clear you have enough things to be worried about. You are pursuing a master's degree and you are going to get a well paying career. Your mother should be proud of you. I was hoping that your father would be proud of you, especially because you are doing so well. That's very rewarding. You accomplished a lot. You are going to fulfill your accomplishments. The thing is that you tried everything you could to make sure that you are doing the right thing and nothing escalates. No matter what you do that is right, it's never good enough to your father. It's not good enough for your paternal relatives. He's not being emotionally supportive of you. You always show that you love him. That is always going to be your father. Instead, he is abusing you. He's repeating that cycle. He's done this several times. Something needs to be done to cut that cycle. Your father is putting you and your mother in a dangerous situation. Your mother has been through enough. You can't feel guilty about this because you tried everything you could to help him. You did not do anything wrong. At the end of the day, you can deal with a lot of things. Unfortunately, he always made you feel guilty about things that you had nothing to do with. If it's something that you had nothing to do with, then it's on your own father because it reflects on his actions. It's not on you. He can't keep blaming you for his own problems. That's not fair to you. That's not fair to your mother. Your mother is not the problem at all. I can't forget what your mother went through from your father's actions. You are a decent person. It's very clear that your father is still having some problems. From the previous story that I read, I can say that he lost track of himself, but it looks like he lost track of what is good and what's bad. I don't know if that makes sense since your father's having problems. I don't know what caused him to be this unstable, to find out that he has a personality disorder. That's an issue with your family. I just don't want you to be in an unhealthy situation. Your father is the one that needs to be healthy. He needs to get his emotions in control. Control your own emotions. He needs to get help. This is not right. It's worse when you have people with a disorder and it's not treated. Your father is very responsible for his own actions. If your mother wants to cut ties with him, then it's up to your mother. It's not up to me to say it. It's not my decision to tell her to do so. I'm sure your mother can tell when enough is enough. One day he will realize that stuff will be gone and he will not get it back. It's too late. That would be his wife, your mother. I feel that your father's family dug a grave for themselves. He should take care of himself. I'm saying it because you are still in university. I'm assuming that you don't live in the USA because you call university uni. Your father should understand that you are in school. I'm not saying that no one should take care of their parents. I get that. There's nothing wrong with taking care of your family members. Enough is enough. It sounds clear that your father is hurting himself. I'm sure that your mother knows you are in university, knowing that you are currently pursuing a master's degree. I can understand if you feel some disdain against your father. I understand that you feel bad for your father. I can't get mad at your mother for feeling some type of disdain against your father. He does not need the reward of being a perfect father. I don't think that he realizes that being a parent is an endless job. I cannot condone what your extended family is doing that is disrespectful and dangerous. It's very clear that your father is easily influenced by his own family. As much as you did your best to give your father good influence, he wants to be himself and worry about what he wants to do, not what is good for him. Accusing someone of things that are not true, that is wrong. You did what you can to let your father know that he has a problem. The fact that your extended relatives refuse to recognize it, that lets me know that they're not taking it seriously. His actions could affect them. They think that he's fine. According to you and your mother, he's not fine. Your extended relatives are babying him, they are spoiling him, they are enabling him, and they are condoning his behavior. Your dad's relatives treat you like an outsider, and that's not okay. It's his family's problems for not understanding your father's issues. They are not acknowledging it. If I were you, I would not trust anything that your relatives are trying to do because they are not acknowledging that he has a problem. His side of the family is showing their true colors. You shouldn't feel bad because you told his family about your dad's issues. His family are not taking his issue seriously. Well, actually, it's a cause for concern for his relatives to get him discharged early. I would not do something like that if someone's issues are serious. His actions are affecting his current family. Imagine he hurt his own family members. He pushed you through hell. His family members are not giving you credit, and your mother enough to get him professional help and taking his problems seriously. You obviously do not owe anyone anything. If his relatives want to disrespect you and diminish your achievements, then that's their issue. You don't have to keep coddling your paternal relatives and explain yourself to them. They don't need an explanation from you. If being honest with them is not good enough for them, then I don't know what's good enough for them. They are showing that you can't trust them. I know that it sounds shady. I can tell you have been very rational when it comes to getting help for your father. You have been taking it seriously. When I heard that your extended relatives got your father discharged earlier, they're treating it like a rehabilitation bailout. That's how I look at it. It seems that they pretend he doesn't need help. They pretend he does not have a problem. That says a lot when they don't acknowledge his problem. This tells me how much mental illness needs to be taken seriously. I know that people can be annoyed about peop about people being narcissistic. It's common to dislike people for being narcissistic. At least your family is the one that's being positive. Your paternal extended relatives are not being positive about it. You and your mother are on the positive road to make sure that your father is okay. If your father recognizes what issues he has, then there is a chance that he can start being a healthy person again. He can rebuild the relationship with you and your mother. Again, change doesn't happen overnight. He has to put in the work. If not, then he will not be able to be close to you and your mother. He's not going to realize that he needs you in the future if he doesn't recognize his wrongs. I don't think that it's the smartest thing for your father to be discharged by your relatives. It looks very selfish. If you want to get your father professional help, it's best to find a rehabilitation center where I hope that he does not get discharged too early. I feel that it can make his mental and emotional condition worse. It's good to know the status of how your father is doing because you don't want him to put himself in a dangerous situation. There are psychologists and therapists you can reach out to, and I hope that you have enough resources to use so you can make sure your father gets the help he needs. If his family members do not want to take it seriously, then I don't think that you need their help. I feel that he could end up in serious trouble if he continued to do something wrong. It would be stressful to pay for bail. I can understand if you don't pay for bail because you are in school, you are getting a master's degree. I can't get mad at you for it. University expenses are expensive. I mean, legal trouble. That sounds very stressful for a family member to be in legal trouble. Nobody wants that in their family. I hate to say it, you can't always be the only person that can help your father. I also understand if you would feel bad because you know that he's sick and you don't want to cut him off. Your father is going to be the father to you. Your father will always be the husband to your mother. You can feel free when you distance yourself from him. Your mother should distance herself from him if things are out of control. Your father can focus on growing and being a healthy person. You don't want to be in a situation where you are uncomfortable and you're not in a civilized environment, you don't have to deal with it. Again, enough is enough. You reached your breaking point where you did your best to be civilized and composed. I feel that your father took advantage of you because you know that you will not do anything that you regret later on. If you distance yourself, then you will realize how much of a good space that you are in. If nothing else works, then it's best to keep your own distance and focus on having your own healthy space. I think that he is risking himself to lose the relationship with you. If possible, you are better off without them. I mean, your father's relatives. Hopefully, your father realizes that he is missing something because you distanced yourself from him. He realizes that it's you and your mother. If he realizes that his family is not helping him at all, would his extended relatives cut ties with him? You know what I mean? What if he had a friend? Would he treat his friends badly? It is possible that he is hurting his own family by treating them badly and abusing them. I'm not saying that this is true. That's what I'm afraid of. It's not that he should not be around his family. I'm talking about his brothers and sisters. It should not be a problem for you to escape this toxic situation. If your father wants to make up for the things that he did wrong to you and your mother, he can apologize. It's okay if you're not ready for him to apologize to you and your mother. This is all I have for the 11th episode. I got to read all of these stories in this episode. The family subreddit was the third subreddit that I got to read some stories about family problems. I will upload more episodes about reading subreddits, whether it's about relationships or not. Hopefully, I get to read more subreddit stories. Subreddit stories are very interesting. I learned that you can love someone from a distance and someone is toxic to you. It's hard to love someone who falsely puts the blame on you and you know that you are never in the wrong. All I could say is stop blaming yourself. If someone puts you in a bad position, I don't think blaming the people who are hurt is the best thing to do. It creates more problems. I just don't like that. It's always good to have your own space. It's peaceful to have your own space. I love having my own space. I also realized that a narcissistic personality is worse than what I thought when I read one of these subreddit stories. I also learned that narcissism is very fragile. I believe that it's true because I know how deadly narcissistic behavior can be, and it depends on who you are dealing with and who you are around. I learned that you can't help those who refuse to help themselves. Sometimes you just have to let people learn the hard way. You just you just have to stop and let them work on themselves. I think that letting people learn the hard way is tough, the same way it is with stopping yourself from helping someone. I'm not saying that people can't change. I have to blame that a number of people are not taking change seriously when they have a problem. I also came to the conclusion that it's hard to deal with toxic people in your family. You want to love them because they will always be a part of your life. I know that and I can acknowledge it. Sometimes you have to do the right thing by protecting yourself from their actions. I find it very messed up to take advantage of your own family members and showing that you can be untrustworthy towards them and behind their back. That is a level of disrespect and betrayal. I want to thank every listener for listening to this episode of the Brewery Weird podcast. It means a lot. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for the next upcoming episode. I have a lot to talk about in the next upcoming episode. I will speak in the next episode.